Welcome to Small Arms Solutions. Today we're looking at something very interesting. This rifle has seen a lot of combat over the global war on terrorism. It was designed for special operations. There's originally a SOP mod project, which was an upgrade. It was ways to use the standard M4 lower receiver. Yeah, they wanted a rifle where you could use an M4 lower receiver and you could have it as a close quarter battle, which was called the Mark 18, which was a 10.5 inch barrel. They wanted the standard M4 heavy barrel, fully automatic, which was the M4A1. And they also wanted a rifle that would work as a designated marksmanship rifle that would have the interchangeability with the M16A2, M4 carbines. And the rifle that they came out with was coined the MK12. There were some different models. All this happened right around the onset of the global war on terrorism, because that's when everything was seeing that there was a need. It was a very interesting project. There was several things that went into it. First was the rifle itself. They had to go with an ammunition. The ammunition chosen, which is developed along with the system, was designed by Jeff Hoffman over at Black Hills. It was called the MK262 MOD1. Initially, it was a MOD-O. The biggest difference was the projectile. The 77 grain Sierra Match King projectile was changed from having no canlure to having a canlure. Canlure is the actual gripping groove that goes around the projectile, so the cartridge case mouth is crimped in place. That helps with unloading rifle to keep the projectile from pushing back into the cartridge case during cycling. That round proved to be the most accurate out-of-the-box ammunition in the industry. That actually is a match grade projectile in a military package. Military package meaning 5.56 millimeter brass, 5.56 millimeter pressures. And what it did to the accuracy of this platform was absolutely phenomenal. The barrel chosen was the 18-inch Douglas barrel. Originally, they wanted to go with a 20-inch barrel, but the military would not allow it because they already had in inventory a 20-inch barrel, which was the M16A2 A4 barrel. So they refused to procure another barrel in 20 inches. So SOCOM went with a 18-inch barrel, which had not, so they were good to go to actually order it. So the 18-inch barrel, again, it's a 1 7-inch twist, which was needed to stabilize the heavy 77 grain projectile. They also used, at the time it was made by a company called Ops Inc., muzzle brake. This is the thread protector. You remove the thread protector. If you notice, there's a pinned-on shoulder right here. This shoulder goes into the sound suppressor, and it centers it. So it's centered the same way every time. What is really nice about this is, from my experience in shooting this specific rifle, I have never had to readjust my point of impact. I could take it on and take it off without a problem. Originally, these were made for a company called Ops Inc. by Allen Engineering out of California. Ops Inc. is pretty much obsolete now. You don't ever hear from them anymore. It's the company's all but gone out of business. But Ron Allen is still manufacturing these. He's manufactured these for the government because one commonality of the MK12 MOD-O, MOD1, and H is they all are set up to use this suppressor, which is an excellent suppressor. This rifle, as I said, is pretty amazing. A couple of years ago, I was invited out to Black Hills Ammunition, and I was out shooting with Jeff Hoffman. And Jeff Hoffman had what you're seeing here, this exact setup. He had the exact complete MK12 MOD1 upper receiver assembly. He had a LMT lower receiver, LMT buttstock on it. And this rifle on paper says it's supposed to be effective out to 600 yards. Well, Jeff Hoffman, with his rifle, again, identical to this one, the same components, everything, was hitting steel at 850 yards with a suppressor, one shot at it after the other. I was very shocked until I did it myself. Once he had the dope in on it, you can hear that steel gun go every single time. Also, he brought out some ammunition that was that he had manufactured as well that was subsonic. And that subsonic ammunition cycled in this rifle, and all you heard really was the click of the action with the subsonic ammunition. It's a phenomenal rifle. I've got something very interesting to show you guys because this has never been shown before because it never left a prototype stage. One of the foreign customers who ordered some of these MK12s, the one thing they did not like about it was using the Ops Inc. muzzle brake. The thing was a flamethrower at night. because of the way muzzle brakes are in general, they enhance flames, even with the ammunition having flame and flash inhibitors in it. So what this does is it converts the muzzle brake into a flash suppressor. Testing this, which I have, makes all the difference in the world at night. You go from one that you're very easily picked out where your position is to one that you're seeing literally just some sparks. However, most of the time the MK12 is employed, it is using the sound suppressor, and the sound suppressor by nature will cut down most of that muzzle flash as well. We start moving a little bit rearward on the rifle. We have an arms throw lever mount that we have a Harris bipod on. This is also the bipod that was used by SOCOM. This Knight's rail is also the actual one used on the MOD-O or used on the MOD1. The MOD-O actually used a PRI, Precision Reflex, their rail system. That was the main difference between the MOD-O and the MOD1. Was the armament, or was the Knight's armament was used on the MOD1, which was the Knight's armament rail system and backup sights. All of them use the same lower receiver and lower receiver components, which we'll get into in a moment. But this is a fully free-floated barrel, quad mill standard 1913 rails. Many of them did have the Knight's Armament broomstick for vertical pistol grip. This was very helpful when used shooting from standing up. Again, quad mill standard 1913 rails. The actual flip-up sight, this was a really early generation Knight's Armament folding front sight. It had more of a standard AR profile to it, 4-position front sight post. There were several different optics that were used on the Mark-12s. Some of them were the Leupold, slightly shorter than this. This was one of them that was used, but this was just a little bit longer. This particular is a 3.5 to 10 power. If you look on the top here, you'll see that this is this bullet drop compensator is designed specifically for and calibrated for the 77 grain Mark 262 MOD1, and you can see it says 5.56 millimeter SPR, which is what this rifle is known as SPR, Special Purpose Rifle. It was held on by Arms Inc. throw lever mounts. These were very much preferred because if this sight was to go down or it was to get damaged and unusable, all you had to do was pull the levers out and the stock would come right off, or the scope would come right off, flip up your front and rear sights, and your rifle was still in the game. So that was the reason for going with the throw lever mounts. Rather than go with the standard mounts where you actually have to have tools to remove the scope, that could make it so you're out of commission. You're not going to be able to use your iron sights to actually shoot accurately at a target. So it was forethinking that if this rifle was to be dropped or damaged, the optic was no good, the rifle could still be used. And you can see from the rear sight that we have here, again, early generation Knight's Armament. You have a single aperture, and you have adjustments for windage only. Adjustment for windages in the rear, elevation on the front. The charging handle itself is the PRI gas buster. This was specifically designed for suppressed rifles. When we close it up, you'll see, well, we also have a very good latch on here as well. It's easy to get to. When we close it up, change the way we look at this here, you'll see how that hangs over on both sides. What that does is it blocks gas from being able to come out. People went even as far as to put some kinds of epoxies over here too to fully seal it off. But in the bottom of the charging handle, you will see it enables the gas to come through here and then to go to the side. So it actually directs the gas out of the rifle. This particular design has been licensed to several other companies. They have their own take on it, but they use that technology. That's including Knight's Armament with their SR25 M110. We're going to take a look at the stock right now. The original rifles, the MOD-Os and the MOD-1, did not use the telescopic stock. Reality is they couldn't. Reason being is the trigger assembly that they used was a Knight's Armament selective fire trigger. They kept this rifle selective fire for one reason. If they got into trouble, they'd be able to put it over to automatic and use it as a light support weapon. The barrel was quite heavy, and it would handle the full automatic fire very well. However, after you did your first full auto burst, your precision accuracy is gone. But because of the rifle system, this uses an actual rifle-length gas system with an 18.5-inch barrel. So, with a combination of the full-length gas system, the dwell time, and the ammunition that was used, it would not cycle properly with a telescopic stock. So they were all issued with a standard A1 style stock, M16A1. The original lower receivers, the ones that are actually used in the military, were actually M16A1 lower receivers that they got from their stocks. And what they did, they took the lower receiver, they kept the stock on it, they replaced the trigger assembly with the two-stage match selective fire trigger group. They sometimes would put a Norgon ambi catch on it, and they throw it right on the receiver. Use the same buffer, same everything. However, once the guns got to their actual units, many decided that they weren't going to use this thing on fully automatic anyways, and I thought there was far more of a benefit to go with a telescopic stock. And one that was available and most commonly used was the LMT SOTMOD stock. So you will see definitely rifles out there with telescopic stocks. In fact, there's what's referred to as the Mod H, which that is one of the main differences, is the fact that it has a telescopic stock. Now this particular rifle itself, the upper receiver was actually put together by a gentleman named Lamont Leclerc. Monty Leclerc is a recently retired Navy SEAL, and he is the owner of Centurion Arms. And he had used the Mark 12 during his service, and he was extremely fond of it. So Monty's known for rail systems. He decided he was going to put together Mark 12 Mod 1 upper assembly for sale. So that's exactly what he did. He got the Douglas barrels. He got the specific Knight's Armament free-floating handguard. And this is no longer in production. These are only made like once a year, and it's pretty much for these purposes. However, on his rifles, you can put whatever handguard you want, but if you wanted to be true to the Mark 12 Mod 1, this is what you would have. The upper receiver is one of his Centurion Arms upper receivers. He managed to find everything for as far as the sights were concerned to make it be what it was supposed to be. He does put these on every one of his rifles because that's the Mark 12. And if you want to buy the suppressor, you go to Allen Engineering out of California, and you have the exact replica of the Mark 12 Mod 1. As I also stated before, optics, it really didn't matter. Whatever the guys could get their hands on. You see guys with, you wouldn't generally see red dot sights, but you would see ACOGs. Since the movies came out, this rifle was made popular in the movie Lone Survivor. Marcus Luttrell's character carried one, and so did Axelson. Axelson actually had one identical to this. He had the SOTMOD stock on his, where the one that Marcus Luttrell carried actually was the quintessential Mark 12 Mod 1. The Mod O saw most of its work with Army Special Forces. And then the Mod 1 was mostly with Navy SEALs. Why we had two, everybody likes their own flavor. Some guys prefer the PRI furniture. Some guys prefer the Knight's Armament, and that's just the way that it went. These rifles are no longer in procurement, to my knowledge. However, they are still in service. There were many awards given to soldiers who used this rifle in battle. There's one that really stands out to me that I heard his story. He was a 5th Special Forces group. His name was Kevin Moorhead. He was working with a group of Iraqis, and they came under attack. And he crawled on his belly up to an edge of a mountain. He was probably around, 400 or 500 yards away. And he covered himself with a poncho. And when they woke up the next morning, all those insurgents were dead. There was over 20 of them. All of them had shots right under their arm. In fact, after it was all over, there was an investigation into whether it was executions or whether it was in battle because of the precision of it. He won a battle that he won that battle that day. He saved a lot of people. Unfortunately, not too long later, he was killed doing an entry in Baghdad. But with this specific rifle, he was able to pick off those individual targets from that distance, undetected. So that's just one. Again, it was used in Operation Red Wings, which everybody knows from Lone Survivor. And that's really given a big breath into this rifle. People wanted to build clones, which is basically what this one is. This upper receiver is exactly a MOD1, as I previously stated. This lower receiver, this is a Colt match target lower receiver. One place I did go a little bit differently was the trigger itself. I'm not as fond of the Knight's two-stage trigger. In fact, I'm not a fan of the two-stage at all rifle that I may have to be rapid fire with. This actually has a hipper-fire single-stage trigger in it, which is absolutely beautiful trigger. And this group, the bullets just want to go, within a half inch or a quarter inch at 100 yards all day long with the Mark 262 ammunition. So in all, this is one incredible rifle. It's been proven in battle. It has many supporters throughout the special operations community. And if you're interested in building one of these, you definitely want to contact Monty LeClaire out at Centurion Arms. He's been selling these for quite some time. He may have a hard time getting you this particular handguard. It depends on where it falls in the year, if that's when Knight's Armament actually makes them. Again, lower receivers, you can use whatever you want. I mean, you can use any manufacturer lower. You can use a stock of your choice. But if you're interested in making a exact replica, all you got to do is get yourself an A1 stock and receiver extension, or A1 stock, throw it on there, and you can leave an A1 pistol grip on there, and you have an exact duplicate rifle. Let's hit the range with this Mark 12 Mod 1 and see what she does with and without the suppressor. What we have here is if you want to call it a clone of a Mark 12 Mod H, which is basically, this is a Mark 12 Mod 1, notice with the Knight's Armament furniture. The big difference is the stock. The original Mark 12 Mod 1 had a fixed stock, which was necessary due to the fact that the rifle was fully automatic, and it required that stock for it to function with a full-length gas tube and the 18.5-inch barrel. There was issues caused with the gas mechanism on full auto, so they went with the full stock, and that cured the problem. Since this is a semi-automatic only, I put on a LMT SOP mod stock on it. Douglas barrel. Notice the muzzle brake that goes on with the Allen Engineering flash hider, which was used by SOCOM. We have a couple of things we're going to try here, but at first we're going to show the basic rifle. The ammunition this rifle uses, as per U.S. military or SOCOM, was the Black Hills Mark 262 Mod 1 77 grain open tip match. In my experience, it is the most accurate out-of-the-box ammunition in the world for 5.56 millimeter. It basically is a match grade combat round. The accuracy is absolutely phenomenal. So we're going to fire 20 rounds out of it. See how she shoots. Wow, it's about the size of a quarter at 100 yards. Now if you notice, there's a very significant muzzle blast due to this muzzle brake. Not to mention, the biggest problem is at night, this thing is a flamethrower. You're going to see something that you have never seen before, and you probably never will again. Due to one of the military customers' complaints about the flash at night, a prototype was made of a converter to put this into a flash suppressor. It never really caught on, but this was designed at the request of a specific military unit to turn the gun from a muzzle brake into a flash hider so they could be using it in night operations without seeing the flame. So all we have to do is unscrew the thread protector. Nice and snug. Now normally the first shot's going to be a little bit louder than the second one, but I'm just quite surprised this never did catch on, because again, it turns a rifle into a gun you can really use at night from one that you just really couldn't without being seen. This thing groups phenomenally. However, this gun was designed to be suppressed. This is an Allen Engineering suppressor. This was the exact one that was sold to SOCOM with the Mark 12 MOD0, MOD1, and the MOD-H rifles. That's a little on the hot side. That's something so it doesn't burn a hole through the carpet on here. It uses the cowl on the barrel to center to maintain zero. And we will shoot with the sound suppressor. The accuracy of this rifle is phenomenal. Magazine through it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe. Thank you.